Kiss, and welcome back to KTV Network. So today I am reacting to the most hated game dev, Asmongold Reacts. Ooh. Do y'all know who we're talking about? We're about to find out. I'm gonna start doing the kiss with this finger, right? Because it looks like a finger gun. All right. But let's see what Asmongold has to say. Let's watch.
The most hated game dev.
Of course.
Do you guys think that Neil Druckmann is actually the most hated game dev? I think that with Western audiences, he may in fact be the most hated most hated guy. Yeah.
Year's 2025, and
he took a beloved franchise with the base of a father and like a daughter relationship, and he turned it into some muscle woman fantasy. Now, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with a true muscle woman, but she has to have tits. Excuse me for the language, but she has to have some breasts. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, those can be fine, but you gotta have a true like a cup size. Abby ain't got no cup size. That's the body of a man. Go to hell.
the gaming world is at war. On one the year's 2025 and the gaming world is at war.
Yeah.
On one side, the general public, who doesn't get what the big deal is.
If there truly are people that are dropping off of the show, they're cowards.
They didn't like strong women.
They didn't like strong women.
TV show?
What?
So let me get this. They're afraid of a TV show.
What? Women, they don't like a lesbian.
And on the other side, gamers.
Well, the attacks on gamers are just...
They don't like a lesbian. They don't like poorly written lesbians. Let's say that. Because I'm pretty sure a lot of people liked Agatha all along, and that bitch is a lesbian. But it was written well. You know, it was for a niche audience, but written well, okay?
Beginning.
The wokest episode in television history.
At the center stands Neil Druckmann.
And all I'll say is at the end of the day, you're way less important. And some of you are not important at all. It's laughable. We send it to each other as jokes some of the time.
The beta male, the male feminist.
A once universally respected visionary. Now, the most divisive figure in gaming.
This is hilarious. I saw this on Reddit.
It's as if he didn't believe the gaming community that his content is trash until he made a TV show.
I'm gonna kill your kid in front of you.
Excuse me, bitch?
How vile.
Turning a game studio known for only making classics into one that only makes remasters and news headlines.
This to me does feel actually disrespectful, and I mean that legitimately.
And to think that
And the thing with Intergalactic, they turned a really beautiful woman, I find beautiful, and her dumbass mouth. She has a dumbass mouth, but I found her really beautiful in you, and you know, Paul, she leaned too far in one direction, and her career might be heading to the toilet.
It all started.
Is it Marion Bellamy?
Started with an idea he had in college. It's 2004, and Neil needs to pitch a zombie game to the father of zombie movies, George Romero.
We had a school project where we had to pitch game ideas to George Romero.
So the idea was for this kind of the story.
His idea is about a cop protecting a young girl. In the game, the player switches between the two characters to force
I think I
empathy.
heard of this.
I pitched it to George, and he hated it. So I just sat on it.
After getting a job as a programmer at the game...
What did you pitch?
The story.
His idea is about a cop protecting a young girl. In the game, the player switches between the two characters to force
I think
empathy.
I heard of this.
I pitched it to George, and he hated it.
That sounds like Joel and Ellie.
So I just sat on it.
After getting a job as a programmer at the game studio Naughty Dog, he continues to work on these ideas in the background. Until Naughty Dog promotes Neil, along with Uncharted 2 director Bruce Straley, to direct a new project.
Our task was to reboot Jak and Daxter.
We started to realize
Wait, that never happened though, right? I don't remember that ever happening.
that it was not going to do justice to the franchise that the fans had fallen in love with. It would be shifting it so far in a new direction.
Yeah.
Like, well, I have this thing I've been working on. What if we try to do this?
Eventually, this turns into a game based on his zombie idea. The old cop becomes a smuggler named Joel, who's tasked with escorting a girl that's immune to the virus named Ellie across the country to people that are working on a cure. Some of Neil's other pitches include Joel being a hardened criminal seeking redemption, a virus that only infects women.
And you found the one...
They already have that. It's called feminism.
...girl that it didn't infect, and that was Ellie. And the reason it failed is because it was a misogynistic idea.
A revenge plot where Joel's old partner Tess hunts him across the country, and a climactic scene where Ellie comes in and saves Joel from being murdered by Tess.
What
the game's
fuck?
director, Bruce Straley, rejects the revenge elements. Quote, revenge just wasn't a strong enough motivation for someone to travel all the way across an apocalyptic country for an entire year. At the time, Neil agrees. I'm pretty dark. I wanted to kill Elena in Uncharted 2. Bruce is the one that would balance me and push for more levity. The partnership works. It's a delicate tug of war, but the end result is lightning in a bottle.
People are constantly critiquing each other, and that's the culture we try to cultivate here at Naughty Dog, because it helps make the game better, even if sometimes it can be frustrating and hurt your ego, but at the end of the day, it's all about the game.
The game launches in June 2013, and both critics and
I feel like everybody, like this game, in my opinion, has done irreparable damage to gaming, because ever since The Last of Us came out, everybody has wanted to make video games into movies. Like, I really don't like that. I think it's shifted the way that, because I see there's...
repeat that.
It can be frustrating and hurt your ego, but at the end of the day, it's all about the game.
The game launches in June 2013, and both critics and
I feel like everybody, like this game, in my opinion, has done irreparable damage to gaming, because ever since The Last of Us came out, everybody has wanted to make video games into movies. Like, I really don't like that. I think it's shifted the way that, because I see there's so many games that are like this now. And yeah, it's the first movie game, yeah. Like a Kojima, yeah, no, but like, I mean, I'm not saying all of them are bad.
I agree.
Like some of them are good. I mean, I heard The Last of Us Part 1 was good, but
I don't think, well, actually, I kind of disagree because, well, there has been video game adaptations for a very long time, and some of them have been really bad. From video games to movies, yeah, like Resident Evil, Doom, there are so many. I can't even, The Matrix, you know, like, some of it is reversed, but, you know, I don't think The Last of Us started that trend. No, it didn't. Sorry, Asmongold.
I think that a lot of people have tried to copy this because I think that people always try to emulate Hollywood because they want to be Hollywood, which I think is a bad idea.
Players are floored.
Making this the 4th game ever to earn my highest rating.
The gameplay is pretty similar to their Uncharted games.
It's like a movie. Actually, my involvement is nothing.
But the story?
That's the problem.
Is universally praised as a step forward for video games.
Sarah's dead. The zombie win.
By the end of the game, players are empathizing so hard, to the point of it almost feeling traumatic.
Could you put your life on the line for me? Could you be The Last of Us?
And the ambiguous ending sparks countless debates online.
And so we don't want to come out and say, this is what we intend, or this is definitely the answer, because it is open.
Suddenly, Neil gets universally praised as a storytelling genius.
Yep. It sticks in your mind even deeper on one level.
When it should have been Amy.
Than a great work of literature or
Amy wrote the first game. It wasn't him.
But their success comes with consequences. In 2014, right in the middle of production on Uncharted 4, Amy Hennig, one of the key creative forces behind Uncharted, leaves Naughty Dog under controversial circumstances.
It was very upsetting. Amy had been replaced. I don't know whether this is public knowledge or not, but that was not her choice. It was the company's choice.
At the same time, Neil gets promoted to fill Amy's spot and reworks everything.
Is it tough for you to go into the set and work with Neil Druckmann, or
you just have to be professional and try and leave your opinions and resentments outside? Yeah.
Isn't it crazy how like people can work with other people that they disagree with without completely crashing out? Like, and it's like most older people know that, but it's been lost on younger people. Yeah.
The development crunch is so brutal that nearly 70% of designers quit after shipping due to creative burnout.
Oh my god.
Among them, Bruce Straley, Neil's creative partner and
Damn.
filter for his darker impulses, is gone. As Neil rises in the ranks, he grows more comfortable with confrontation. After getting some backlash for including LGBT content in The Last of Us DLC, he takes to Twitter. For each one of these bigoted and sad posts, I get thousands of positive ones from amazing fans. Some might say arguing on the internet is unprofessional, and it could leave you vulnerable to having your personal information stolen.
I think that in general, if you try to push out a narrative like this and you try and do something like that, that's fine. But I think that a lot of people get frustrated by it whenever it's not really done in the main story and then you add it in afterwards in order to get like virtue signal points. Kind of like what happened with Dumbledore.
That's why you should be using Surfshark, the sponsor of this video. It keeps your online data safe and private by encrypting your internet.
Wasn't Dumbledore always gay, or did J.K. Rowling do that on purpose?
Activity. Whether you're at home or using public Wi-Fi, Surfshark prevents your personal information from falling into the wrong hands. It also allows you to bypass geo-restrictions
nice of
and
him to,
censorship, so that you can
watch
access
it, but no,
videos.
I'm not doing
While
that.
arguing with fans might take a toll on Neil, it doesn't affect his standing at Naughty Dog. In fact, in 2017, he's promoted to vice president of the company. Now he has full creative control and a fresh team of developers. It's time to get honest.
The writer's responsibility. You have no...
I will say one thing about Neil. I may not like his politics, but I like his hair, and his beard is well taken care of.
social responsibilities in your writing. The only thing you have a responsibility is to tell the truth.
Just in time to start working on their next big project, The Last of Us.
Part 2.
Part 2. Oh! The whole world applauds. However, some fans remain skeptical. Did they even need to make a second game? Wasn't the ambiguous ending part of the point?
And so we don't want to come out and say it's, oh, this is what we intend, or this is definitely the answer, because it is open.
I know there's a lot of people.
It had an ambiguous ending that could have been left to interpretation, but also it's part 2 could have been great. Damn it. Amy, release the script. Release the book for us so we can know what truly happens in part 2.
People that feel this trepidation about revisiting what that ending means. No one
trepidation is right.
Loves these characters more than we do, and we would not do this if we didn't feel like we had the right idea.
Right off the bat, it's clear this is a Neil game. All of Neil's rejected ideas for the first game are back. The revenge plot, the switching between characters mechanic, and his idea to kill a main character from Uncharted 2. The extreme crunch is also...
So let me get this straight. So Baldy was keeping him in check. Baldy gets removed. This guy makes his own game the way he wants it to be, and everybody hates it.
Back.
Where are we on getting physics on these strands?
That explains a lot.
There you go.
So for next time?
Looking
for next time?
Just because I let
They released a story trailer and gameplay demo, and the hype train is now at full speed.
Wow.
The visuals are stunning. Every square inch of the world is drenched in detail.
I see this
visuals
reminds me of
stunning.
every single Unreal 5 game.
Dude, they did the lips so well. Yeah, that actually looks really good. Wow.
So they're making out with each other.
Yeah,
Wow.
that's what I'm talking in there. That's actually, like seriously.
For real. Wow. Like, I need to see kissing, like, so much PDA and porn in my video games. Wow. Wow. I mean, although I will agree, does a survival game really need that? Like, does it need to be in the story, in the main story? Can it be, like, a side quest?
See, that's really, really good attention to detail. And oh god.
Nevertheless, even with just breadcrumbs, the online debates are already heating up.
There started to be these rumors about the game, false narratives that the game has homophobic Christians.
Okay, I don't like his hair here. See, he looks really messy. But when he takes care of it, you know, back then when he was kept in check, top tier.
And that's who you fight. And then there's like a series of like YouTubers and websites that just run with this thing.
Neil knows the creative choices aren't going to please everybody, but as long as no one inside spoils anything, he thinks the backlash will be manageable.
And I was able to dismiss it, and then the leaks happened. And then all of a sudden it's like a flood.
With only a couple months until the game's release, someone leaks the biggest spoiler in the game, Joel's death scene in full. Plus the fact that you play as his killer
With a
for
golf
around half
ball.
of the game. The
Yeah.
YouTube video gets taken down at around
People didn't
1,000
like
views,
that.
but that's enough. Neil braces for impact.
Just want to say on behalf of everyone at Naughty Dog, a lot of you have sent us very sweet, encouraging messages along that time that have been really helpful. We make this thing.
And that was the lowest point in my life.
If the leaks are true, this game can kiss my ass.
The destruction of several characters that people are very attached to.
And like those voices jumped.
Everybody's trying to be George R.R. Martin. People are trying to be that guy that kills the really important character. And it's like, you know, like to write the story where like Gandalf dies in like, you know, the Fellowship of the Ring or something. Like they're trying to do this, you know, like, and you know, you saw this happen, and it's not that nobody can do it. I mean, they did it with Expedition 33, no spoilers included, but they did it. And it's not that you can't do it, but there's a lot of people that try and do it, and they fucking fail.
On Joel dying and the fact that you played Joel's killer, and in the fact that they said that like Joel's killer is transgender.
If you think that game could be spoiled by a couple screenshots, really?
No matter what you've seen or heard
After you hear them, you're not going to want to pick up this game.
or read, nothing compares to playing this thing from beginning to end.
Joke throughout production would say is like the downfall of Naughty Dog.
This is it.
This is the downfall. This game.
I kind of feel bad, but then again, I kind of don't. I don't, in a way. Because I had a reaction for The Last of Us 2 for, like, the game comparisons, and they flagged me, so go to hell. But at the same time, I kind of feel bad because, like, his vision is completely rejected as a storyteller. Like, you suck, dude. Just take the L. You know? But it's people that live in that bubble that aren't told the truth, and they're surrounded by yes people. And when they're hit with reality, it's like a cognitive dissonance.
And it's the downfall of Naughty Dog.
The game releases in June 2020, and within hours of the game's release, hundreds of negative reviews start flooding the game's page.
This is the kind of shit that really is confusing.
Hours of the game's release. Hundreds of.
You look at this right here. This right here is the problem, and this is like this happened a few years ago, right? Like at this point, so like this is the reason why games journalism died. This right here.
Yes.
At the end of the day, what point does a review serve? What purpose does a review serve, other than to inform the customer?
Y'all fucked yourselves. Excuse me for cursing. You really screwed yourselves. With no lube. Okay? That's why your industry is dying. That's why you're gonna go out of business and out of jobs, and AI is taking over. So y'all are gonna be line cooks, and not even for long, because robots are taking over for that too. So, as minimum wage goes up, and most of y'all are in California.
And it is very obvious that for whatever reason, whether you agree with it or not, these professional reviews certainly did not represent the fucking customer.
Negative reviews start flooding the game's page.
Naughty Dog just went full The Last Jedi on this one.
Considering the game is supposed to be 20 to 30 hours long, the number of negative reviews raises some eyebrows. In response, some people even publish research articles dedicated to proving it's a coordinated attack. Sony
Yeah, it was a coordinated attack, but it probably also was a coordinated benefit, because a lot of journalists and people, they put a very high value on things like diversity and different types of like social dynamics that are being represented in video games or in media, but that type of value isn't really represented by the public. So how is it fair that they overvalue it, but it's unfair whenever the players and the actual consumers undervalue it or anti-value it? That's the issue, and that's what's so confusing about this, is that it's very obvious that these people make it like, you know, like the Dragon Age the Veilguard getting a 9 out of 10. There's no way it was a 9 out of 10 game. Like, nobody thinks that. Nobody believed that. And IGN gave it that rating. Same with like Black Myth Wukong having an 8 out of 10 because of some bullshit thing that like wasn't even true. It was based off a bad translation. And so the big issue is that I think, yeah, you're right that you have a lot of negative reviews that happen. But if somebody gives a negative review for a reason why you're not going to consume a product, it doesn't matter as much as a review, in my opinion, of like somebody who actually played it and knew for sure. But it does matter. Like, you absolutely should be able to discuss, this is why I chose not to play this game.
Or it's allegedly taking down hundreds of reviews.
Attacking gamers again.
I just don't agree with the extremity. So, you know how people will rate a game prior to coming out, or when it comes out, a 1, because that's unrealistic. So you'll have people on the other side voting for the same extremity, which is a 10. Extremity, I don't know how, whatever pronouns you want to use. Voting a 10 just to balance it out. So I look at the in-between, and those are the true reviews. Because 1s or 10s, like, no game or movie is a 1 and a 10. Unless you're really going out of your way to be unlikable, like that Velma show or something like that, like that's really a shit show.
Again, which, who's surprised? It's kind of funny that they'll delete the negative ones, right? But they won't delete the positive.
This guy's really salty that the game didn't go the way he wanted.
Metacritic also implements a 72-hour waiting period for future reviews. Attacks are coming at Neil from all sides, but rather than letting it pass over, Neil goes full offense.
And all I'll say is, at the end of the day, to all our critics, we listen to that stuff and we digest.
Did I say pronouns? Sounds like pronouns. I meant pronunciations. Depending on whatever pronunciation you want to use.
Just a lot of it, but you're way less important. And some of you are not important at all when you're kind of shout and threaten and doing all that stuff.
The problem is that the game sucked. Okay, if Kojima said this, everybody would be spamming based. The problem is not that you're acting this way. The problem is that you're acting this way after your game flopped. That's the issue.
Laughable. We send it to each other as jokes some of the time.
Look, I get it. You love these fictional characters, but they're not real. You do know that, right? Guys, don't be scared of therapy. Think of it like working out for your brain. But soon, bad reviews aren't the only thing on Neil's plate. Some of the more observant fans notice lies in the marketing, mainly that Joel is added in post to make it look like he's a bigger part of the game. They also make him look different.
I don't know why they would do that. Just have scenes in the trailer with Joel in them. That's not hard to do. They went out of their way to cut clips to make it look like Joel is involved in the scene.
Fans call it false advertising.
That was so wrong. That was so
they're
wrong. That's
trying to bait people
losing.
in there by knowing this is the character they like the most, and then they're going to kill the character that they like the most, and then somehow this is gonna be what the fans want.
But Neil says he just didn't want to spoil the surprise.
Metal Gear Solid 2 is just one of my favorite games. And I know some people hated it.
By the way, that's a completely justified reason. I don't mind that at all. For him to say that, that's totally okay.
I loved when I played Metal Gear Solid 2, and I saw those trailers. You were deceived, right? Because they moved boss battles around. You always saw Snake. They never showed you Raiden. And I remember like, oh, I'm playing a whole new character. This is fucking awesome.
However, fans bring up an IGN article from 2018.
A great example with this too is that it's Expedition 33. Like it's a kind of a new game, so I'm not going to spoil it. But it's very obvious that, you know.
Expedition 33
I had
did
no
it too?
idea that was going to happen.
Oh.
I had no idea at all.
I have the game and I haven't played it yet. And most likely I'm not going to play it online because these games are so long and I'm just looking to play more linear games that end faster. I'm not doing open world online. Hello?
And it's because of the way that it was advertised. And that was a good thing.
Neil is saying Ellie will be the only playable character. To make the situation worse, as the Game Awards approach, when The Last of Us Part 2 is nominated for Game of the Year, Neil tweets, "The Last of Us fans, activate. For every vote you cast for The Last of Us Part 2, a hater loses their caps lock."
This wasn't a good tweet. First of all,
It's crazy how this guy, you know, heel versus babyface went on that pronouns rant about Starfield.
He was
and
so
it's
tired
like,
of
again,
it.
it's like one of those things where like
He lost
it's
his
like
freaking
an
mind.
appreciating asset. Like, that rant becomes more relevant and more people resonate with it every single year.
Yeah, because pronouns date a game as well. I mean, aside from it being a mental illness, because let's be real, y'all got bored. Y'all got really bored during COVID, and made up these names. Like, what? And then y'all want to identify as trans. Like, who? Did you really go through the bottom half surgery or the top half? Like, did you do all that to be called trans? Huh? To be called a what do they call it? They? So you're a group of people? No. It dates the product, because 10 years from now, nobody's going to be saying my pronouns are.
It's a very passive-aggressive tweet, particularly with his emoji at the end.
He apologizes, saying it was
We're gonna have bigger problems.
Stop defending Neil Druckmann. Well, no, I was just saying that
we already do.
Like, I don't know. Like, I'm just talking about this just being fair, right? Like, I'm saying, like, oh yeah, that would make sense to me if you want to give people the impression this is what's going to happen. Like, yeah, I don't think it's bad to say that.
I want to come across as someone who dislikes criticism.
My tweet was meant as a joke, RE trolls.
Yeah.
Essentially, we're living in his head rent-free.
But none of his former fans buy it. Multiple YouTubers report receiving strikes from Neil over videos critical of the game or the leaks.
And he did it to me recently. That's why I stopped reacting to comparisons for The Last of Us, because no. I blamed IGN when it wasn't IGN that was the problem.
Only did Naughty Dog strike down my
And I had considered watching it for Abby, okay, because I actually like the actress, but you know what? Fruit y'all.
YouTube channel along with so many others. They
Frick y'all.
also are responsible for my Twitter account being taken down.
Come September 2020.
Where's
I
the
remember
fucking
that.
receipts for something like that, you know?
Neil's ongoing battle with
Jeremy was
fans
talking
hasn't
about
died
that.
down, and Naughty Dog hasn't announced any new games. Fans are getting impatient, but it gets worse. In 2022, they announced a $70 remake of The Last of Us Part 1. $70?
$70
For a remake of a
is crazy.
$20 game that's already been...
And they've remastered this game like 5 times.
Remastered. Well, at least it's...
They gotta have that money.
5 times.
Yep, they need that money.
It's coming to PC. Hopefully the port is okay. Oh boy. Players booted up.
Wow.
And it's...
Is that me? What the hell? Out of bitch.
Criticism.
My tweet was meant
I was
as
like,
a
what?
joke, RE trolls.
Yeah.
Essentially
responsible for my Twitter account.
Well, at least it's...
They gotta have that money. Yep, they need that money.
It's coming to PC. Hopefully the port is okay. Oh boy. Players booted up.
Wow.
And it's, well...
Wasn't that the Prime Minister of Canada?
After over an hour of waiting for it to build shaders, frame rate issues on the most high-end computers, textures not
I
loading
never had that.
properly,
I
and
mean, I never
cutscenes where
played.
all the characters are wet.
I never played 2. I
If you
played
plan
1,
on
but I
buying
never
The
had that
Last
problem.
of Us 1 remake, you're an idiot.
You don't deserve to call yourself a gamer or ever play video games again. In fact, you don't even deserve to peek at a video game ever again. And quite frankly, I hope your hands cramp up.
After 2 years...
Who is this guy?
Sales disappoints. Critics call it unnecessary, and the goodwill in Neil's haters all but evaporates.
Yeah, I remember when
Druckmann
this
became an egomaniac after The Last of Us and lost his sense of humility.
Fast forward a year,
I
and
love
things
his
aren't looking
hair
much
there.
better.
His
In
hair
terms
is
of
so
games,
good.
just remasters.
Yeah, I think that a lot of people don't like Neil Druckmann because he comes off as the most pretentious theater kid, like, you know, trying to put
Pretentious theater kid is so accurate.
on and project the image of being this, like, tormented, you know, like, writer or, like, you know, like, creative mind. It's like this guy's Vincent van Gogh, but the only thing that he did was stab himself in the chest. You know? Or cut off his ear.
Oh my.
But Neil feels good. He's been promoted to head of Naughty Dog, and HBO launches The Last of Us TV series. Before it's released, Neil announces major changes to the story,
Oh,
with
he
no
cut
input
his
from
hair?
Bruce Straley as far as anyone knows.
That's
For example,
convenient.
I mean, if you're gonna go gray and you're gonna stop moisturizing your locks, I mean, I guess go ahead, but negative 10 points, and your points are already low.
The bill sequence works very well in the game because you're fighting the infected with Bill. I think if we had adapted that exactly as is for the show, maybe a thrilling episode, but dramatically would have.
Not me talking about this man's hair. Not this becoming a commentary, you see, because I have short hair, so I have infatuation with long hair.
It's been a lot less interesting than where we've ended up, which we changed it quite a bit.
His ex-fans are primed to hate it, but in the end, it's actually pretty good. In fact, HBO says it's one of their most popular shows that year.
That was a nice.
becomes somewhat of a mainstream celebrity. New fans start pouring in.
That was a nice episode, but it wasn't a part of the story. Like, the lover died. They didn't die together.
Game sales spike, and he finally feels like he has some people on his side. Until season 2.
It's crazy because that's exactly what happened with the game. It's almost like if you tell a story, like this is a big fantasy that a lot of people that are in media believe, is that the average modern audience cares less about these social issues and different types of dynamics than gamers do. But the reality is that in fact it's the opposite. Gamers and like online people are much more accepting and open-minded of things like non-traditional gender roles, non-heteronormative relationships, like all of the things that people complain about woke stuff with. There's a lot of like average Walmart Americans, and they just see that on the TV. They said, "Oh, this is weird. Oh shit, I didn't watch this game. Okay, what's this?" And they're done. They don't even think about it. Yeah, if you push it, right? Like they're not even like, it's not like they're getting mad. They're not writing like a whole thing about it. They're just like, oh, this is weird. I'm not going to watch this. And that's what an average person, I think, does a lot. And I think that what these people believe is that average people, because they think that they're average, but they're not average. This is like a very unique viewpoint that they have. Average people are totally okay with this stuff, but they are absolutely not. Why people didn't like the second game and season has nothing to do with woke. It did in the game. People didn't like that Abby character because she had a non-female body, and they thought that it was a weird type of like representation. And I think that that definitely was a big reason why. Like, I didn't even play the game, and I know that. I'm just saying, like that is the reason.
She wasn't likable at all.
It goes beyond that. No. But what I'm saying is that you're right. You're right. Maybe it's not woke stuff, it's the story, is what you guys are saying. You're right about that. But I'm saying also, whenever you're talking about putting these ideas out to the public dislikes them more than you'd imagine.
It turns out fans of the show who haven't played the games have no idea what's in store.
Yeah.
Kill him with a golf club?
Guys, I don't know what to do right now.
I didn't think it was gonna happen this soon.
And after Joel's big moment, public opinion shifts. IGN gives the episode their lowest rating in history.
The result is a competent, often thrilling hour of television, but one that ultimately underserves the larger story and the characters it forever changes.
Viewership starts to fall off, and the season finale sees a 55% drop from the first season.
You have to expect that some people will just switch off after that, and people have switched off in their droves. But not only that,
in December 2024, fans finally get a brief glimpse of something.
It just keeps getting worse.
New. This time Neil has an executive producer role, but that doesn't make it void of controversy.
Bro, I saw that Intergalactic, the heretic prophet, literally had more
That had so many.
Like the Concord
actress for Naughty.
And she is so beautiful. Like, yeah, just take the politics out of it. You know, what she believes in. She's beautiful. Like, I really find her objectively beautiful. Like, if you were to take if I remember, I'll place a screenshot here of what she can look like without the blonde hair, but like that afro.
Dog's upcoming game Intergalactic Heretic Prophet mocked gamers by sharing pro-DEI fan art. These are games that
the blonde isn't very complimentary.
I love how this happens, and like what's really funny is that the current reality is that this game is underwater, and they apparently are telling people at the studio.
I actually found this clever. Fragile masculinity. Actually, that's actually pretty clever. But see, that's your fault for feeding into the hate. You should have just did your job as a voice actress and shut the fuck up. Just like Laura Bailey, how she got the backlash for Abby, but people didn't associate her with Abby because she didn't say shit. She just collected her paycheck and got the fuck on. Okay? That's not what you did, Miriam. And now you're taking a camp class to not listen to haters. First off, let the haters know they were right. Maybe that'll calm the situation down, and then shut the fuck up. Then again, if you tell the haters you were right, they might kick you off the game. The game might be canceled. But then again, it's already in far development, so.
Not to go on the internet and not to talk about it or think about it. And then this game, they totally changed the way that Siri looked from the original video.
Haters.
Or at least Siri looks. It's very hard to say whether they changed it or not. But Siri looks totally different than the way she did from the original video, and she is 100% hotter.
Right.
So, like, this is literally an L and an L.
I would say an L and a W for somewhat clever wordplay, you know. But other than that, yeah.
Gamer, these companies
it'll get shadow dropped.
Have to be boycotted.
But Neil says not to worry, that this next game is going to deal with a much less controversial subject matter.
Oh, we made a game with The Last of Us 2. We made certain creative decisions that got us a lot of hate. So the joke is like, you know what? Let's do something that people won't care as much about. Let's make a game about faith and religion.
Whether it's any good or not, we've yet to see. But it's clear, Neil.
Stupid. People care about faith and religion. Hello, politics. And what's that other one? Health. These are the three topics that people are extremely sensitive about. Like, what's wrong with you?
Neil's not taking his foot off the brake anytime soon.
I can respect a guy that's got his ideas, you know, and he has his creative vision and he wants to do it. But at the same time, I don't really think this is going to go anywhere. And I feel like, honestly, with a lot of studios, there's a video, give it a like. I've never actually watched one of this guy's videos, Sir W. And his 89,000 subscribers. This is a good video. And it's funny for me to see this, but I do think that Neil Druckmann has become like the fucking, he has become the
poster child of what not to do.
Spirit animal of every pretentious, annoying, woke, theater kid, pretend, tormented artist, writer that just makes shitty stories that people don't like. I feel like this is the guy, right? The anti-Kojima, yeah, because everybody wants...
So a far, far left liberal, because I'm saying this as an old school liberal, okay? That's what he is. And now I'm like more of a moderate, because y'all both suck. I mean, if y'all on left on the right, you know, don't take this too seriously, because I really don't care about politics, but it is what it is.
Wants to be Kojima, and like this is like our, you know how like you know how like sometimes they have like a fucking store brand of something like the Great Value. This is like our Great Value Kojima, and it's sad. And I think also there's a lot of people that write great stories and they just don't do like all this self.
I like his V-neck. I want to buy that. I actually like that. I don't wear V-necks anymore because I used to wear it during my teen years, but I actually like that one. If I see a shirt like that, I'm gonna buy it. It looks very loose and long sleeve and a V-neck. That's interesting. It's like an oversized V-neck.
Aggrandizement. You know, like Shadowbringer's story was written by a woman, apparently in Final Fantasy. People love that.
Yeah.
You've got the Expedition 33. People love that. So, like, the entire premise of this is bullshit.
Exactly.
I'll be right back.
I agree. That's funny. I'll be right back. And they just walked out. But yeah, let me know what you think about this video. The media-related content. I'm trying to expand here, but still keep it in the gaming sphere. Like and subscribe if you vibe. Come today, and I will see you guys on the live streams. Whenever I'm on the live streams. Okay, take care. Bye.